Buying an SUV in 2026 feels smart until the problems start showing up early. Some models sitting in dealerships right now carry hidden problems that won't appear until after your warranty expires. The TÜV Report 2025 just exposed 6 SUVs with failure rates so high, mechanics see them more often than any other vehicles in their class. Today, we're breaking down 6 SUVs you should absolutely avoid in 2026, backed by official inspection data, documented recalls, and real owner nightmares. These aren't opinions. These are facts that could save you thousands. The TÜV Report is Germany's most trusted vehicle inspection authority. Every year, they analyze millions of vehicles during mandatory safety inspections. When a vehicle consistently fails at higher rates than its competitors, that's not bad luck. That's a pattern. The 6 SUVs we're covering today share one thing in common. They fail TÜV inspections at rates far above average. From corroded brake lines to catastrophic oil leaks, these vehicles carry problems that appear early and cost heavily. If you're shopping for an SUV in 2026, the next 15 minutes could protect you from one of the worst financial mistakes you'll ever make. Let's start with a vehicle that surprised even the TÜV inspectors. Dacia Duster. The first generation Dacia Duster. It's cheap to buy, but the inspection failure rates tell a story dealers don't want you to hear. The TÜV Report 2025 reveals shocking numbers for the Dacia Duster Generation 1. After 6 to 7 years, the failure rate hits 24.3%. That's nearly double the 13.6% average for vehicles in its age group. After 8 to 9 years, 29.7% fail inspection, compared to the 17.9% average. By 10 to 11 years, over 1/3 of all Dusters fail their TÜV inspection. That's 34.1% compared to the 23% average. And after 12 to 13 years, the failure rate climbs to 35.6%, while the average sits at just 28.1%. Here's what TÜV inspectors find most often. Defective axle mountings appear at rates far above average. Oil leaks become common, even on relatively low-mileage examples. The steering system shows excessive wear, with inspectors reporting failed steering joints and loose steering components. Brake performance deteriorates faster than competitors, with uneven braking force from the parking brake being a constant issue. The lighting system fails frequently, with defective or misaligned headlights appearing on nearly every inspection. But here's what shocked inspectors the most. Rust on the body is rarely an issue. The Duster's simple construction actually resists corrosion well. The real killer? Emissions failures. The Duster fails exhaust emissions tests at rates significantly higher than average. When combined with oil leaks and worn suspension components, the Duster becomes a vehicle that looks fine on the outside, but hides expensive problems underneath. One Duster owner on Reddit said it perfectly. "I loved my Duster for 18 months. Then it became a full-time project. Repair costs add up fast. Axle components, steering repairs, brake system overhauls, each one costs hundreds of euros. And because the Duster is a budget vehicle, resale values drop dramatically once these problems appear. You're not just paying for repairs, you're losing equity every single month you own it." The first generation Dacia Duster offers low purchase prices, but the TÜV data proves it's one of the least reliable SUVs you can buy. Unless you're buying one with a freshly passed inspection and a complete service history, avoid this generation entirely. But if you think budget SUVs are the only ones with problems, wait until you see what happens to Europe's former best-selling SUV after a decade on the road. Nissan Qashqai J10. It defined the compact crossover segment. It sold millions across Europe, and today it's one of the biggest reliability disasters in the TÜV report. The numbers are devastating. After 10 to 11 years, the Qashqai J10 posts a 31.2% failure rate. That's significantly higher than the 23% average. After 12 to 13 years, the failure rate explodes to 36.3% compared to just 28.1% average. Nearly 4 out of 10 Qashqais fail their mandatory inspection. That's not a small problem. That's a systemic failure. Here's where the Qashqai falls apart. The suspension system. TÜV inspectors report excessive wear on control arms, stabilizer links, and ball joints at rates far exceeding any competitor. The front suspension components wear out prematurely, causing clunking noises, uneven tire wear, and dangerous handling characteristics. Steering joints fail regularly, creating play in the steering wheel and unpredictable road behavior. Oil leaks appear frequently, even on well-maintained examples. The engine seals deteriorate, leaving oil stains on driveways and creating fire risks near hot exhaust components. Emissions failures plague the Qashqai, with catalytic converter issues and exhaust system corrosion appearing at alarming rates. The exhaust system itself corrodes faster than competitors, requiring expensive replacements well before 150,000 kilometers. The parking brake shows insufficient holding force on a significant percentage of inspected vehicles. That's a safety issue that can cause the vehicle to roll unexpectedly on inclines. The lighting system fails constantly. Rear lights, fog lights, and daytime running lights all show defect rates above average. And here's the kicker. Even the brake lines show premature corrosion on some examples, a problem that can lead to complete brake failure. One mechanic on a German forum said, "The first generation Qashqai is my bread and butter. I see them every week for suspension work, oil leaks, and exhaust repairs. Nissan built millions of these and now they're all falling apart at the same time." The Nissan Qashqai J10 was Europe's best-selling SUV for years, but the TÜV data proves it doesn't age well. Suspension failures, oil leaks, emissions problems, and corroded brake lines make this one of the riskiest used SUVs you can buy in 2026. Nissan's reliability collapse is well documented, but the next SUV proves that even newer vehicles can fail spectacularly from day one. Opel Crossland X, a compact SUV that's barely 5 years old, and it's already showing failure rates that shock even experienced TÜV inspectors. Here's what makes the Crossland X so concerning. After just 2 to 3 years, it posts a 10.4% failure rate. The average for vehicles this young? Just 6.4%. That means the Crossland X is 60% more likely to fail inspection than its competitors. After 4 to 5 years, the failure rate climbs to 15.7% compared to the 9.1% average. This isn't a vehicle aging poorly. This is a vehicle that was built poorly from the start. TÜV inspectors report oil leaks appearing on vehicles with less than 50,000 kilometers. Engine seals fail prematurely, creating visible oil residue on the engine block and transmission housing. The suspension shows excessive wear far earlier than expected. Springs and dampers fail at rates significantly above average, causing poor ride quality and potential safety issues. The exhaust system corrodes prematurely, with some examples showing rust perforation after just 3 years. But here's the most shocking finding. The Crossland X shows brake disc wear at rates far exceeding any competitor in its class. TÜV inspectors report worn brake discs on vehicles with as little as 30,000 kilometers. That's unacceptable for a modern vehicle. Brake discs should last 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers under normal driving conditions. When they fail at half that mileage, something is fundamentally wrong with the design. The lighting system also fails frequently. Daytime running lights and fog lights show defect rates above average, requiring expensive replacements at authorized Opel dealers. These aren't cheap bulbs. These are integrated LED units that cost hundreds of euros to replace. One Crossland X owner on a German forum: "I bought my Crossland X new in 2020. By 2023, I'd already replaced the brake disc twice, fixed an oil leak, and dealt with a corroded exhaust. This car is barely 3 years old, and it feels like it's falling apart." The Opel Crossland X is one of the worst compact SUVs you can buy in 2026. High failure rates from day one, premature brake wear, oil leaks, and suspension problems make this a vehicle to avoid completely. Opel's quality problems are clear, but the next SUV proves that even popular mainstream brands can hide serious reliability issues. Ford Kuga, second generation, a family favorite across Europe, and according to the TÜV report, one of the most problematic SUVs in its class. The TÜV data reveals a troubling pattern. The second-generation Kuga shows failure rates consistently above average across multiple inspection categories. Oil leaks appear frequently, even on relatively young examples. The suspension system shows premature wear, with dampers and springs failing earlier than competitors. Emissions test failures occur at rates significantly higher than the class average. Here's what TÜV inspectors find most often: oil-soaked shock absorbers. The dampers leak hydraulic fluid, reducing ride quality and creating safety concerns. Broken springs appear at alarming rates, causing the vehicle to sit unevenly and creating harsh ride characteristics. The exhaust system corrodes prematurely, with rust perforation appearing well before 100,000 kilometers. Emissions failures plague the Kuga. Catalytic converter problems, oxygen sensor failures, and exhaust gas recirculation issues all appear at rates above average. When the emissions system fails, the vehicle enters limp mode, reducing power and requiring expensive dealer diagnostics. Repair costs for emissions-related problems often exceed 1,000 euros, and some owners report repeat failures even after repairs. Brake disc wear appears prematurely, with some examples showing excessive wear before 50,000 kilometers. Rust on brake discs is common, but the Kuga shows actual structural corrosion on brake components, a serious safety concern. The lighting system also fails frequently, with defective daytime running lights and fog lights appearing regularly in TÜV reports. One Kuga owner on Reddit: "I've owned my 2015 Kuga for 6 years. In that time, I've replaced the dampers twice, fixed multiple oil leaks, replaced the exhaust, and dealt with constant emissions warnings. I'm done with Ford." The second-generation Ford Kuga carries too many documented problems to recommend. Oil leaks, suspension failures, emissions issues, and premature brake wear make this one of the riskiest family SUVs you can buy in 2026. Ford's problems are well documented, but the next SUV proves that even brands known for reliability can stumble badly. Škoda Kamiq, a compact SUV from a brand known for quality and value. But the TÜV report reveals one specific problem that destroys its reputation. The Kamiq shows a 9.6% failure rate after just 2 to 3 years, compared to the 6.4% average. That's 50% higher than expected for a vehicle this young. And the problem is specific, consistent, and expensive. The Škoda Kamiq shows brake disc wear at rates 4 times higher than the average vehicle in its class. TÜV inspectors report excessively worn brake discs on vehicles with as little as 30,000 kilometers. This isn't normal wear. This is a design flaw. The Kamiq weighs just 1,300 kilograms, making it one of the lightest SUVs in its segment. There's no reason the brakes should wear this quickly. The premature brake disc wear affects braking performance. TÜV inspectors report insufficient braking force from the foot brake on a significant percentage of Kamiqs. That's a safety issue that can increase stopping distances and create dangerous situations in emergency braking scenarios. Replacing brake discs costs several hundred euros, and when they need replacement every 30,000 to 40,000 kilometers, ownership costs skyrocket. The Kamiq also shows higher than average failure rates for rear lighting. The LED tail lights fail prematurely, requiring expensive replacements at Škoda dealers. While not as serious as the brake issue, it adds to the overall cost of ownership and indicates quality control problems. The Škoda Kamiq is otherwise a solid compact SUV, but the brake disc wear problem is so severe and so consistent that it disqualifies the vehicle from recommendation. Until Škoda addresses this design flaw, avoid the Kamiq. Škoda's brake problem is specific and fixable, but the final SUV on our list proves that even premium German engineering can't escape a simple design mistake. The BMW X1 F48 generation, a premium compact SUV from Germany's most respected brand. And it fails TÜV inspections for the strangest reason you'll hear today. The BMW X1 shows failure rates significantly above average for vehicles 4 to 7 years old. After 4 to 5 years, the failure rate hits 17.4% compared to the 9.1% average. After 6 to 7 years, it climbs to 18.7% compared to 13.6% average. But here's what makes this so unusual. The X1 isn't failing because of mechanical problems. It's failing because of pedestrian protection dampers. The BMW X1 uses an active hood system designed to protect pedestrians in a collision. Small pyrotechnic dampers lift the hood slightly during impact, creating space between the hood and the engine to reduce injury. These dampers have a mandatory replacement interval of 5 years, but many owners and even some BMW service centers don't know this. When the dampers exceed their 5-year lifespan, the vehicle automatically fails TÜV inspection. It doesn't matter if everything else is perfect. Expired pedestrian protection dampers mean automatic failure. The replacement isn't expensive, around 200 euros including labor. But because so many owners don't know about this requirement, the X1 shows artificially high failure rates. Here's the important part. Once you replace the dampers, the X1 is actually one of the most reliable compact SUVs you can buy. TÜV inspectors report very low failure rates for mechanical components. The engine is solid, the transmission is durable, the suspension holds up well. The X1's high failure rate is entirely due to this one maintenance item that owners overlook. The BMW X1 is a special case. It's not unreliable, but it requires knowledge of a specific maintenance requirement that most owners miss. If you buy an X1, make sure the pedestrian protection dampers have been replaced within the last 5 years. If they haven't, budget 200 euros for replacement before your next inspection. 6 SUVs, 6 different problems. The Dacia Duster I fails at rates nearly double the average due to suspension, steering, and emissions problems. The Nissan Qashqai J10 collapses after a decade with catastrophic suspension failures and oil leaks. The Opel Crossland X shows premature brake wear and oil leaks from day one. The Ford Kuga suffers from oil leaks, suspension failures, and emissions problems. The Škoda Kamiq destroys brake discs 4 times faster than competitors. And the BMW X1 F48 fails inspections due to a maintenance requirement most owners don't know exists. These aren't opinions. These are documented patterns from the TÜV Report 2025, based on millions of real vehicle inspections across Germany. When a vehicle consistently fails at rates far above average, that's not bad luck. That's a warning. Which of these SUVs surprised you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. Subscribe to Gas Tale and ring that bell so you never miss our next evidence-based report. We bring you clear, documented data that protects your money, your time, and your peace of mind. No hype, no speculation, just facts that help you make smarter decisions. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.